You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Arr, ahoy, mateys. Join us tonight to talk of starships and pirates. Yes, a little piece of me died when I just did that, but no worries, it's Monday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, and that must be time for Mission Log Live. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Heather Barker, and I am not a pirate, unfortunately.
I don't believe you.
I came very close. I recently donated my pirate outfit. There was one in Halloween's past, and gosh darn it, I wish I had it because I would have dressed up. Tonight, it's time again for you, our Star Trek pals, to talk to us, your Star Trek pals, about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Episode 7, The Serene Squall. We're here. You're here with us. We're here with us too. And we want you to be a part of the conversation. Just click on the Zoom link or give us a ring by using the one tap from your smartphone, or call us at 669-900-6833 and enter the meeting code and password you see in the show notes.
Dude, you're laughing already. Wait, what's up? What's up? Is it just the intro? What?
Yeah, it's the pirates. Okay. It's the pirates for sure. Pirates are always fun.
Pirates are always fun. And Heather, to me, you are many things, and I'm sure a pirate among them. You can be the pirate that you want to be.
No?
I
do have a parrot, so that works.
Oh, that's very good. You're halfway there. You're at least.
I just need a peg leg now. I don't want a peg leg.
Not that. No, don't. You'll have to go there. All right. So as we're waiting for all of you to line up in the Earl Green room, let's see who's with us tonight in the chat. Heather, you've already been active there, and I believe you said you had some friends there. So you want to give them a special shout out?
Hi, David.
Nice. And David, let's just go ahead and do the whole thing. David works on a show that...
Promenade Merchants podcast.
Excellent.
With my bestie, Heather.
Fantastic. There you go. David, welcome to the show. There's Jane. There's Paul. Ooh, we got one Paul. Do we have another Paul?
No.
We got Scott Palm. Hi, Scott. How's it going? We got Rhea. We got, John Arminio, speaking of podcasters. We got Dennis, and we got Alex, and we got Dan. We got a lot of returning faces and some newer faces out there. Alan, of course, the Meme King, and Chris Riker, already giving a pirate shout out there. Captain's Log. Arr. So glad to hear you there. We got Barbara. We got who else? We got just a lot of people, all being very active and very chatty. Keep it up. I can't wait to see your comments about tonight's episode. Before we get into the recap, though, Heather, if you could do the honors for us and remind me, please, because it's just nonstop for me. Please remind me and all of our guests what's coming up in Mission Log World and Roddenberry podcasts for the week.
I can do that.
Okay.
This week on Mission Log. This Thursday, the standard Mission Log continues with Jetrel. Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's a heavy one. No jokes for this one. We will leave those for the Mission Log computer. Elsewhere with Roddenberry podcasts, make sure you're tuned into Mission Log The Orville. Captain Mike Richards and Jessica Lynn Verdi are also quantum driving forward with their current episode recap of Season 3, Episode 2, Shadow Realms. It's available now with Episode 3 covering...
we don't even know what the title is.
Yeah.
I don't anyway. Earl will let us know. Yeah.
Anybody got to like ESP out there or something?
Yeah. Earl knows all. He'll drop it in the chat.
Well, that's all ready to drop this Wednesday, June 22nd. But wait, there's more. Mission Log Prodigy recently had an excellent interview with executive producer and writer Aaron Waltke. I love that guy so much. He is a fencer, or at least he knows what fencing is. He has done it before. So that's
how
super
cool.
Yes.
Awesome.
Check that out while we wait for Prodigy's return, which I'm patiently waiting for Prodigy's return.
We all are. Yes.
But so you can find Mission Log Prodigy, Mission Log The Orville, and Mission Log Engage video exclusively at YouTube/Roddenberry Entertainment. And make sure you stay in touch with all of our podcasts at podcast.roddenberry.com.
All right, here we go. It's time to do the recap. And I know that we already have at least 2 callers lined up. I expect to see more hang out in the Earl Green room and then join us for a little follow-up conversation on the episode. So here we go. Strange New World, Season 1, Episode 7, The Serene Squall. Avast. T'Pring is still trying to rehabilitate the criminally illogical but she has time for a Zoom call with Spock where she tries to spice things up with little old Earth erotica. That just makes him nervous, and he has to go confide in Nurse Chapel that he's having relationship trouble again. Meanwhile, Captain Pike is greeting a guest, Dr. Aspen, who has been doing humanitarian work in the area and needs help from the Enterprise rescuing colonists while also avoiding pirates. Having worked with Vulcans before, Dr. Aspen takes an interest in Spock, seeing as how he hasn't gone through the ritual purging of emotions yet. Hold that thought, because before you know it, the Enterprise has arrived in an asteroid belt where there's a distress call. Could be legit from the missing colonists, 2 of their 3 ships were destroyed, or it could be totally a fake. Guess which one it is? Go ahead, it's a fake! Soon enough, the Enterprise is trapped in a high-energy reflective laser netting, and one false move means kaboom. Spock is put in the uncomfortable position of having to guess at the best target to shoot their way out, which he does, and Dr. Aspen catches up with him later to make sure he's okay after the difficulty. Guessing is hard for Vulcans, less so for humans, but Spock is both. Aspen suggests maybe he's neither, only further confusing him. At last, the Enterprise catches up with the remaining colonial ship, and a scan reveals a number of life signs, probably all the missing colonists, as well as whomever took them hostage. Pike and a landing party beam over, taking extreme caution, but it's not enough. They're captured in short order, and apparently some of those pirates took the opportunity to beam over to the Enterprise. They're now doing all they can to take control. Una locks down the computers, and Spock makes a valiant escape off the bridge with Dr. Aspen. Still, they're in a tough situation. The captain being held hostage, and violent pirates threatening the safety of the Enterprise crew. Oh, and surprise, Remy, the head pirate in charge on the Serene Squall, is Orion. In the melee, Una is captured along with other crew members, but Spock manages to get away with a slightly injured Dr. Aspen. They hide out in a Jeffries tube until they can get to sickbay, and from there go to engineering to try to take control of the ship. Nurse Chapel has also been hiding out in a Jeffries tube and narrowly avoids capture when she's caught trying to send an SOS. Back on the Serene Squall, Pike has worked his charm to offer up a good meal to the pirate crew so they can all talk about the situation they're in. The Orion captain wants to sell the Enterprise and then trade off its crew for Klingon slave labor. Pike sees a vulnerability to exploit. The pirate crew aren't all on board with their captain, Remy. As more of his crew show up, hostages from the Enterprise, he lets them in on his plan to get the pirates to have their own little mutiny. Spock and Aspen make their way to engineering and find Nurse Chapel there, but Spock has been had. Once he has control of the ship, Aspen takes it all at phaser point. She's not Dr. Aspen. She's Captain Angel of the Serene Squall. Now she's got a ship, the crew captured, and what's next is a call to T'Pring. You see, T'Pring is rehabilitating a prisoner called Xaverius, and he happens to be Angel's lover, so how about a trade? Xaverius goes free, or Spock dies. T'Pring does show up, but Spock has a plan of his own, convincing T'Pring that he and Chapel are having an affair, a ruse Chapel goes along with. That severs T'Pring and Spock's bond, and thus their betrothal is off, so it seems is the prisoner exchange. The pirate crew on the Serene Squall have been slightly overtaken, and at exactly the right time, Pike and crew descend upon the Enterprise, locking out those command codes remotely, leaving Angel no recourse but to surrender. Well, not exactly. There's an escape ship hiding nearby, but the rest of the pirate crew is going to have some answering to do. Finally, T'Pring pays a visit to Spock so they can clear the air and rebond. After that, Spock has more air clearing to do, without the rebonding, with Nurse Chapel. She gets it. She's not going to come between him and T'Pring. What they did was for the mission. But one last question. Who was it that Angel was trying to save? Just Spock's half-brother, the one Sarek fathered out of wedlock, a full Vulcan who is actually named Sybok. The end. Oh, Heather.
Sybok!
Cybok. I'm really looking forward to talking about that part tonight because, I hate the C word. I hate the canon word. I really do. I hate framing my enjoyment or lack of enjoyment of Star Trek around just all the little quote, canon details or not. This is one that I gotta say I appreciated, and I kind of want to put it into context with the other canon stuff in and out of Strange New Worlds. What are your initial feelings on the episode?
Well, we had to follow up child sacrifice, so I'm glad that we got something much lighter.
Really, anything would be lighter, right?
Thank goodness.
Yeah, it could be 90 minutes of root canal, and it would be lighter than that episode. Yeah.
I appreciated that the episode still had some really meaningful context, especially about like the non-binary existence, and that whole conversation, because I think that not only does it apply very much to Spock and Spock's life experience, but I think there was another metaphor there for people who might identify as non-binary. And it's not super straightforward, but as someone who identifies as a non-binary woman, I picked up on it. And that meant a lot to me. So I was glad to see that.
I thought it was so concise and so perfect, because here we all are watching this show. We're all Star Trek fans. We all understand the basics about Spock, at the very least, that he is torn between two identities, two cultures, two upbringings, and literally these halves that tear away at each other. And in the guise of Dr. Aspen, what is said to him that you may just be you. It's not about what you are, it's about who you are. To be that concise, that sort of perfectly stated, I thought was lovely in the best of Star Trek traditions. Just to be able to get a difficult idea that people do struggle with and understanding, and put it in kind of the perfect context. I thought it was fantastic. That aspect of it was handled well.
I think that what I love about Spock so much is that, he embodies the other. And for so many times that we feel like we're pulled in between two places, he's so relatable. And so watching that and watching his reaction through the whole thing and his parts of the conversation, and just hearing that, not only can you understand from Spock's point of view, but you kind of get insight into what other people are struggling with. And I like that it was just there and part of the story. And then meanwhile, we have some great pirate fun and bad pike hair and kabooms, and just a lot of fun with the rest of the crew, and the kisses, but the kiss.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, though. It's those small canon moments that I feel like inform the others. They fill in the blanks. They inform the other stuff. So there we were all watching TOS and going like, well, what is it that is underneath Chapel's feelings for Spock? Like, we all get it that Spock's an attractive dude and people can like him. Certainly the fans at the time liked Spock. But there's something very clear there with Chapel. This is wonderful to think about how this is 10 years before any of that we see in TOS. That's the heavy stuff that is lying under all of that. And it really gives you more appreciation for where she's coming from. By the way, there were a couple of things here that I wanted to point out in the chat. I love that, Jim quoting a line that I really liked. Again, Dr. Aspen sort of calling out Spock when he says, "I was raised on Vulcan." That's just geography. It has nothing to do with his identity, who he actually is. That is a great line. So again, the efficiency of the way those things are written. Hey, let's go to our first caller. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Okay. So calling in, it is Rhea with some thoughts on Strange New Worlds. How are you doing today, Rhea?
With some strange thoughts about New Worlds. I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing very well. Welcome to the show. What is on your mind tonight?
Oh gosh. Well, old canon and new, I guess. Okay. First of all, I've been saying since season 2 of Discovery, bring back Cybok. Where's Cybok? Where's Cybok? And I was so excited to finally have Cybok back. So yay!
It feels like the right people that make Star Trek are out there listening to fans. That's something that we've talked about forever is Cybok and what happened to Cybok. And love it or hate it, it's still a conversation that we're having. And so to me, it's like they're listening.
Yeah. And that's, and anytime you have a prequel, like you were saying earlier, John, the C word, you always have to kind of tiptoe around it. But Cybok is just like prime material that needs to be developed here. So super duper excited about that. Super duper excited about what I hope is a recurring villain with Captain Angel. Oh my gosh. And I am, I'm still looking, I've been looking all week ever since the episode dropped to try and find something. Basically, I want to cosplay her. That cat is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the character was amazing. And I mean, I was completely caught off guard, by the twist there because, and I look, the actor does use she and her. She was such a convincing counselor, and the questions she was asking Spock, even at the end, even as Captain Angel, the enemy, who are you? I mean, that was just kind of profound.
Yeah. Thought that was wonderful, and I was really taken in by her performance as well. I have, of course, seen the comments, positive and negative, out there in the world. I try to avoid as much as I can, particularly before coming into a show like this. But feelings about it was too much, too arch, too kind of telegraphed. But there was something to me just kind of great and fun about that, because if you didn't have the moment at the end where Angel turns to Spock and basically is saying again, like, look, I may be the bad guy here, but I still have your number, and I still know something of value about you. I thought that that helped to flesh out the character continuously, instead of just being, oh, here, it's just a total flip, a total 180 of who this character is. No, all that intelligence is still there. All that ability to kind of be a chameleon to serve whatever her purpose is still there. And yeah, may very well see her again. Wouldn't be surprised.
I hope so. And the whole over-the-top villain thing is so TOS. It's very, Harry Mudd or Cyrano Jones.
Yeah. Well, hey, we've got a bunch of callers lined up at the moment. Do you have any other thoughts that you want to part with?
Absolutely nothing profound. Stranger Worlds is hitting it out of the park every week, though. I'm just loving this. So.
Nice. All right. Excellent. Have a great night, Rhea. Take
care. Thanks, you too. See ya.
All right. And calling in with Tendi over his shoulder, as usual, it is Paul. It is Paul Harveth. How you doing tonight? Oh, I dig the T-shirt. I love the Ritos T-shirt.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you, Heather and John. Always great to talk to you. I'll be quick.
What's up?
First of all, there's two actor moments in this thing that you had to notice where they just broke, right? One was when Nurse Chapel is being, lectured by Angel. As an actress, I think she just looks at her and goes, how can you be like this? It's just the view. She's just looking at her going, what? How can you be this intense? Because she almost looks confused. It's the first time I saw Chapel actually just sort of break. Really interesting moment. And then Una was trying so hard not to laugh. Please, when she goes, please stop, right? She couldn't let him get the line out. It was so hilarious. Those were my two observations about the acting, but I'm going to let everybody else talk about the main things. I got 3 quotes that I thought were interesting. Don't try to be smarter than the truth.
Yes. What a great line.
Boy, there's a lot of our society could relish that line if they took it to heart.
Yeah.
Love is the only thing that makes the cold loneliness of space bearable.
Oof.
And that could be said about sometimes the cold loneliness of COVID.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And third of all, Spock, you are failing to communicate effectively.
So good. So good. So good.
So I'll let you guys chew on those, and I'll just sit back and listen for a little bit.
I feel like, thank you, Paul. Those are great. I feel that line, you are failing to communicate effectively. It would make a great t-shirt. It would make a great coffee mug. It makes a great email signature, so anybody who wants to take those, just run with them. I think that's great. So, wait a minute. Rhea here in the chat says, I forgot to ask, was there not a Ston appearance? Yes, there was. There was absolutely Ston, and he looked great.
Yeah.
He looked so perfect.
He doesn't hold a candle to Spock, sorry, but
But he looks like Lawrence Montagna, right?
He does.
He really does. All right, I'm going to make way for Alan. You got a busy show tonight.
Okay.
Great to see you guys, and see you next week.
Take care, Paul. We'll see you then. All right. Okay. I've been waiting for this. I feel like all week I've been ready for this. It's Alan. Alan, what do you got for us tonight?
Oh, avast, Mr. Champion and Heather Barker. How be tonight? We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this all the way.
God.
oh man,
I knew it. I knew it.
Tis good to be here tonight with ye.
Well, welcome, Pirate Alan. I'm so glad. I'm so if anybody was going to do this, it was going to be you. Thank you for joining us, Pirate Alan. Yeah.
This be my Renaissance Fair outfit.
I was gonna say you're ready. You're ready. You got to come to Colorado. We have the whole setup out here. It's like a little town. It's here all the time.
Tis a glorious invitation. I shall have to take you up on it.
All right, Pirate Alan, thoughts about tonight's show, other than just the supreme amount of pirate content in this episode.
There'll be quite a bunch of skullduggery throughout this entire episode, my lad. I must say that this one, sometimes an episode hits me right just in the front, right off the top. This was a 2 or 3.
Right in the cannonballs. Huh?
Yes, it gets me right across the bow.
Yeah.
This one had to circle port a couple of times, but eventually I was like, I think it'll pass muster.
Yeah.
Chris Riker says Alan's out for booty.
Yeah. Yeah, you did say that. Awesome.
Me,
wait.
Spock, Captain Angel, the whole crew.
Alex, plot twist. Alan didn't see the episode, was just coincidentally wearing a pirate outfit. Uh-huh.
Well, it's just that time of month, but everyone gets out their pirate gear on the 19th. That's what it's all about.
They do. Alan, other than the pirate content of the episode, were there other redeeming factors?
I think that there was an interesting contrast going on between the sort of the insights into the love life of the Mr. Spock character. It seems as though he had a devil and an angel on his shoulder. In fact, it almost looked a bit like an episode of Spy versus Spy with the way that they were outfitted. One in all black, one in all white.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
This is good. This is good stuff. Yeah. Nice.
You didn't think you'd get serious points out of me, did you?
No. I look, even in the memes, there's always a point in it. So yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, that is an excellent point, and it sounds like, so like me, maybe at first glance weren't so in love with the episode, but on a second watch, came together for you.
It did. It's as I said, it was sort of, like a good pirate stew. It takes a while to really come together.
Pirate chili, maybe.
Pirate chili, yes.
I had that as a note. What were they eating? Was it chili? Or a stew? Yeah.
It seemed a bit vegetable-y to be chili, but
okay. Pike could do a vegetarian chili. We don't know. This is probably a good question for Anson Mount when he's in Vegas at the convention.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe if you ask him in the pirate voice, then
possibly. We could trade accents.
You could indeed. All right, Alan. Any further thoughts before we move along?
I will say that ironically, the thing that was holding me up at first was the fact that, and this is very ironic given what I'm doing tonight, but it did feel as though, for at least part of it, the first couple of viewings, that it felt more like characters acting in a pirate episode than a pirate episode itself. But eventually I just sort of succumbed to it.
All right.
But
just like scurvy. Eventually you just succumb to it.
Exactly. And with that, I'll say, live long and prosper.
All right. Take care, Alan. We'll see you next time. I fully expect that between now and next week, Alan has worked out a full sea shanty that is themed to whatever the topic is.
There's a whole Star Trek sea shanty thing on TikTok.
Wait,
that's
is
a thing.
There?
Yeah, that's been a thing. Go find it.
All right, so I'm not on TikTok. I understand that there was a brief revival of the sea shanty, like during COVID. Didn't pay attention to that. But now that I know that there's Star Trek sea shanties,
yep, they're out there.
I'm kind of intrigued. Before we go to our next caller, we're going to take a moment for the business of the episode, which we always have to do. But before we get to that, just a couple of the notes that you and I might have similar notes on some of these things, but some of the fun stuff that I wanted to point out. I love that little bit of dialogue, the get close. How close are we getting? First date or third date? Blind date?
Blind date.
Wonderful so bit of dialogue. Something that we've been talking about here, the chemistry with these characters. And as Paul said, like whether it's Una and the captain, or I feel like the captain and Ortegas, there seems to be like a genuine camaraderie here. And I don't know if it's just the like really good acting or just that they're having so much fun with the material. But moments like that, I feel like really stand out because they feel genuine, they feel earned, and they feel fun. Like they're letting us in on the fun that they're having, Also really appreciated the whole sequence with Spock having to take a guess about which target to fire upon. Of course, I hope it reminded everybody else, as it did me, of Star Trek IV, and Spock having to take a guess about Mr. Scott's calculations, and then McCoy saying, of course, his guess is safer than anyone else's facts. I thought that was great. Yeah. And just the gratuitous use of Jeffrey's tubes in this episode. I thought so good. Yeah. So good. Any other quick observations that you had?
With the Jeffries tubes, we had Spock looking in his little viewer, which is always fun.
I love the viewer. Yes.
Yeah, it's just the greatest thing. I love that they kept that around. And then Ortegas was flying manually, and so every now and then we see somebody flying manually, and not crashing ships and stuff like that. So we did good. I really love Ortegas. I want more. Like Ortegas has all these great lines and is really funny. But I want the Ortegas episode. Like I want more time with her for sure.
Yeah.
And then of course Chapel and the hypospray and turning her hypospray into a weapon. Best thing ever. And again, I really appreciate this filling in the blanks of Chapel's life and turning Chapel into someone that isn't just an unrequited love story, a person with a crush on Spock who happens to do nurse things. Like she gets to kick ass, and is a good friend. And I really love seeing this set up with Spock and their friendship. But getting to see her kick ass, and really all the women across this series, even the last episode, I think it was Alora, kick the butt of the guy attacking her. Like, it's just really great to see women who can take care of themselves, that don't need someone to, come save the day. Like, we can do it. We got it.
There are things in Star Trek, well, in any franchise that goes on for, umpteen years, there are things that are always, I think, fair game and worthy of reinvention. And to have Chapel, who, look, and it is no slight against Majel, but to go from playing number one in the cage to then having this character that was pretty ill-defined and as you said, was just sort of playing the unrequited love story to Spock, I feel like it was a bit unfair. So to have somebody who can reinvent the character 10 years prior to what we got out of TOS and really has some fun with it, but even with that fun, gets to inform the little pieces that we do have from Chapel and TOS, I think is great. I think that's absolutely the way to do that with a character for whom there's not a lot of meat there. If you just go with what we got in TOS, I fully want, if there's going to be an action figure for Chapel, she has to come with the action hypo spray.
Yes,
because that is her weapon of choice, and I'm here for it. I love it. But yeah, I'm just so happy to see her have a life of her own in this series. Yeah, good stuff.
And just be awesome. She's so awesome. Jess Bush is doing a great job. I love her.
She is. Yeah. Hey, right before we went on the air tonight, Heather and I were talking a little bit about the Mission Log Patreon community and specifically the Mission Log Discord, which is exclusive to our Patreon. Actually, I got an email the other day from somebody who said, hey, I keep hearing you talk about Discord, but I don't know how to get to it. And I wrote back and said, if you keep hearing me talk about Discord, you keep hearing about it in the context of an ad for Patreon. So go there, patreon.com/missionlog, and that's how you get access to it. And really, I was a latecomer to Discord. I was all about, we do have the exclusive swag in Patreon. We have the early access to our shows and the unedited shows in Patreon. That has its own life, but Discord is really where the community is. Heather, you're new to it, but you've been very active there and checking it out. Tell us about it. Tell us about your experience there.
There's just lots of awesome people. One of the things that I have learned over the years, and especially through the pandemic, it's great to get to talk to Star Trek fans all across the world. I love to build community and bring people into our fandom, but it's not so much about the quantity of people as it is the quality of people, like in your space, wherever that is. And so whether it's this Discord group, I'm in a couple others, but they're, like close, tight-knit groups of people that get along together despite being scattered across the world, coming from all walks of life, able to just talk about all kinds of things, food, pets, all the different series, different sci-fi series. We got like Happy Father's Day to the dads that were in the group. And so it's been really great to get to know everyone. And it's nice to be somewhere that, you feel accepted and everyone's friendly. And anytime, like if it does get a little heated, like we're all very respectful and kind, because that's who Star Trek fans are.
Truly. And, I've said it from the beginning that we've been really lucky with Mission Log to have a sizable audience, but people who are here on the same page of wanting to talk about the ideas of Star Trek. And being able to do that in the even more open kind of organic community that is Discord. Paul just mentioned in here, he said, I love our weekly live streams. And we're doing that a few times a week now, where it's just kind of an open forum and it's me and or Norm. And we get to just sort of turn on the cameras and chat, just hang out for a while. And sometimes it's Voyager, sometimes Strange New Worlds. We've been doing Stargate. Orville, Captain Mike showed up to do that one. And it's just cool to be able to chat and see each other and bridge that gap. So if you would like to join, you know what to do. Go to patreon.com/missionlog. And from there, you get all the other stuff that we talked about, but you get to join our Discord. You can do it for as little as $1 a month. And there's even a discount if you do the annual subscription, which is a great way to do it. So Wednesday nights, we're live. Thursday afternoons, we're doing After Dark, where we talk about the current episode of Mission Log. Sometimes it actually stays on topic. So, if that's good for you, you can join us there. So patreon.com/Mission Log. I hope that we see you all there. All right, let's get back to our chat about the Serene Squall. I like that little bit of contradiction there, that you can have a serene, storm.
Yeah, kind of goes with the whole theme of the episode.
It does. You might say that Spock's inner turmoil, bit of a serene squall. All right. Well, let's see what our next caller has to say about it. I believe that Brandon is up. He's been waiting patiently, and it looks like he's calling from the mess hall.
Yeah, it's a little lonely here, actually. I think everybody should be getting here in a minute.
And
yeah.
And hopefully you're on the actual mess hall of the Cerritos. You're not in that simulation where Boimler's going to be up on that bar behind you and doing God knows what. So
no, yeah. You want to stay out of simulations these days because you do not want to be having drinks with Badgie.
No, you do not. No, that is an invitation for disaster. So tell me, what is on your mind tonight, Brandon?
Well, I wanted to start off by thanking you for that interlude just there so that I didn't have to have my first time on your show being right after Alan and because I didn't come with any sort of pirate anything prepared. And
it was not a requirement to have a pirate persona for tonight's show. So
I was not going to be able to follow that.
Who can?
Yeah. So I wanted to talk. I mean, first of all, I think we're probably a lot of us are thinking it, and probably a lot of us are going to say just how much we loved Jesse James Keitel as Dr. Aspen / Angel. I mean, I remember thinking throughout the episode, man, this is just such a great character, and what great acting, so precise, so perfect, side by side with Spock. And then at the reveal, this just amazing turn where you feel like Jesse is just saying, this scene, it's mine. Angel she stole the scene like they were going to go sell it on the black market. It was amazing. So
I say that's one of those moments where I try to make a point to not watch screeners too far ahead, particularly when we're doing a serialized show, because I don't want to be spoiled for things when we're having a conversation like this, right? But then an episode like this, get to watch kind of on its own. And I enjoyed it. I appreciated the lightness of it, but I wasn't really tuned into it. When I rewatched it, so things like Angel's turn, Dr. Aspen's turn, wasn't a spoiler anymore. It wasn't a surprise anymore. I appreciated it more, actually, because then I just got to be taken in by the drama of it. I got to be taken in by how it affected the other characters instead of, whoa, this is a different character now, and what's happening. So I think it holds up better on a rewatch in that case. At least it did for me.
Yeah. I think the rewatch does give you that great opportunity to, I have that moment where they get out of that web and they all think that they just did a great job. And we're sitting here being like, oh, you've got another 30 minutes. You're in trouble. If you got through that so easily, it's because you were supposed to.
Yeah.
And so when you go through and you know that, I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, indeed. What else?
So what else is the other end of the spectrum? On the other hand, I found myself thinking it is amazing that everything in the galaxy that happens is somehow connected to one of about 30 people.
Yeah.
And I know, I suspect this is actually not going to be wildly popular, but hear me out. I kind of heaved a bit of a sigh at the reveal of Sybok. Not because I hate Sybok. I watched Star Trek V more than any other movie when I was a child at my grandparents' house. Every time I went, they said, pick a video to rent. And it was Star Trek V. Wow. So I loved it growing up. And it's not any Sybok hate, but I sort of, coming off the no turns allowed trip down memory lane that was Star Trek Picard, what I'm loving about Strange New Worlds is that it gives us looks into characters that we either didn't get to know as well as they deserved before, or are just meeting, Spock being the exception. But let's explore more about Pike. We know Pike, sure, but let's explore more about him. Let's learn more about Uhura, but also check out this Ortegas person. She's probably like the coolest. So why don't we learn some more? Let's see about her. Let's see about number one. All these new things I really love. And I feel like the more you anchor yourself as a show to previous stuff, the more you risk painting yourself into a corner and the less room you have for new stuff. So you end up with something like Discovery showing us the Federation almost getting obliterated in a massive war 20 years before Carol Marcus tells David Marcus, Starfleet has kept the peace in the galaxy for over 200 years.
Right.
Oops.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I definitely have thoughts about that. Before I get to it, though, I want to hand it over to Heather and see if you've got some thoughts about that.
No.
No.
I don't.
I made a friend today. I'm sorry, Heather.
No, it's okay. I'm not a big fan of Cybok or the film, but I don't know. I really like what the writers and showrunners have done so far, and so I'm curious to see where they're going with this. Like they've turned T'Pring into somebody really fun and great that I love. I don't know that they're going to do that with Cybok in any way, but maybe just adding some depth to him. The weirdest thing is that when we meet him, it just looks like Ethan Peck with the wig on to me. Like it just looks, I'm like, okay, is that what they're doing? Like what? So I'm just curious to see what they do. I think because Cybok is such a controversial figure in fandom that people talk about him all the time, whether good or bad, mostly bad, that they're probably pulling on that and then bringing that character in to do something hopefully fun and memorable. I don't know. I try to be an optimist.
I like that. I appreciate trying to be an optimist here. I think the thing is that we all as fans have our own level of tolerance for what is an interesting point of connection or continuation or filling the blanks versus what is too much or belaboring a character or a plot point to the extent that we don't get something else out of it. And so that is a very subjective thing. And I absolutely, I'm right there with you with the problems with having a lot of the action in Star Trek boiled down to a handful of characters. Look, Star Trek Discovery is a great, well-made show. I think that Michael Burnham is a terrific, complex character. I didn't feel the need for her to be raised by Sarek, especially because all that Vulcan conflict is pretty much now forgotten. We just haven't really explored that at all as part of her character anymore. So it was something that started out trying to say, look, it's Star Trek, because we said Sarek, and then it didn't really pan out too much other than giving us new Pike, new Spock, and a new show to spin off from. So things like that drive me a little crazy. Things like, okay, we only know so much about Spock and T'Pring, so how much are we going to focus our time on that? That had me a little wary at first, but now I find them to be so much fun and so interesting that I feel like it's woven into the show in a pretty organic way. Cybok, and again, I'm not somebody who watches Star Trek with the big chart on the board and connecting the dots and doing the whole like conspiracy board. That's not how I watch anything. But Cybok is one of those rare cases where I remember sitting in a theater watching Star Trek V for the first time, and they it's Spock's brother. Wait, hang on, wait a minute. They're introducing a brand new character we haven't heard of before. How can we possibly do this? But we all accepted it. We all moved on with the movie, and the movie, I think, has many, many strengths. even if this is all we get out of it, and I don't think it will be, I think he'll be back, but this one moment in this show where you just have Spock acknowledge that there is this other guy, and I think most importantly, born out of wedlock for his father. To me, it drives home the idea that Sarek is in no running for the Father of the Year award on Vulcan or anywhere else for that matter. And B, it helps to further explain that this kind of like shame and imposed distance that Vulcans keep about the terrible things that they do and the mistakes that they often find themselves in. So if all we're doing is connecting those dots, totally good with that, because it helps me to then get to Star Trek V and go like, oh yeah, that's why, But if it turns into a whole story where we're entirely focused on Sybok, and in my head I'm going, but we were entirely focused on Sybok for an entire feature film, then I might change my tune. But I guess we'll see when we get there, if we get there. So yeah, I feel you, Brandon. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I find myself. I feel like I have faith in the showrunners at Strange New Worlds. Yes, there's maybe a risk because we're at episode 7 of 9, 10, and I don't think we're gonna see the rest of the season be about Sybok. That would be such a weird turn. If they did do. This is the Sybok episode. And they were like, okay, nope, now we're putting him away. Don't worry, everybody. We're going to keep going on with this really like fun, episodic way of doing things. Yeah. I think we'll be in good shape there.
And everybody's tolerance for what is episodic and what is serialized is also very different, very subjective. I like the idea that character moments keep coming back with some impact and with some meaning. At the same time, I don't need every episode to automatically be tied to every character thread that we've had. Right. So, so far I like the way that Strange New Worlds has handled it. And we'll see if that keeps up. Brandon, thank you so much for your call tonight.
Thank you.
Hope we see you again soon. All right.
Absolutely.
Be good. Hey, Heather, we've got another pirate.
We do.
We do. All right.
Arr.
It is time to welcome to the show, Cherie. Cherie, how are you tonight?
I stole the idea from Ellen, because pirates can steal ideas too.
Yes, they
Got
can.
to steal something.
Hey, you're
this
stealing,
is also from my
stealing
Ren
from a
Fair costume.
Yeah. Nice. Wait, what part of the world are you in? What is your Ren Fair that you go to?
Well, I've been to many different Ren Fairs actually. Currently in California. I actually prefer the Ren Fairs out in the Midwest, where I'm from.
Did you go to the one in Bristol in Wisconsin?
No.
Okay. That's the only one that I've been to more than a few times.
But I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar troupe. I think the troupe that does the Midwest fairs are probably like in that region, because I get the sense that they travel. Where I was at, they had like a whole village that they never took down. Like it stayed there the whole year round, and they would just come back to it when Ren Fair would happen. So it was a whole big thing. You could get married there. It was great.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you for being in theme, and tell us what's on your mind tonight about Strange New Worlds.
Well, I know this is a nitpick, but I'm just like, are there no pictures of Dr. Aspen in their profile? Are there no pictures?
How did Dr. Aspen get on the
pronouns,
ship?
But no pictures.
But like, how did they even get on the ship is what I want to know.
I think the only way it makes sense is if you just tell yourself that Angel hacked Aspen's profile and put their pictures in there. But also pretty impressive coincidence that they picked somebody else that was non-binary as well, because they kept on with they them pronouns for both. Yeah. So it's just like it's cool. I guess maybe that's why they're like, I'm gonna kidnap this non-binary person.
Right.
Maybe they
I
were
really-
similar too. Who knows?
I hadn't even thought about that. I was just like, okay, they're on the ship. Why are they on the ship? But that's a really great point, is that I guess then the original Doctor would have been a non-binary person. And I don't like getting rid of non-binary people, but I do wonder. It was nice though to have, go ahead.
Sorry, I just also like the fact that they didn't have to like introduce their pronouns or anything. It was never mentioned, but it was just a thing. Like they called them by they them pronouns, and nobody ever said anything about it. You assume they got it from the profile that had no pictures.
Right.
It's all fine.
Yeah, I mean, at least we know that Dr. Aspen presumably is alive, and
So, yeah.
on an uninhabited planet. Hopefully, it's just not coincidentally inhabited by dinosaurs or something. So yeah,
It'll be like a con situation. Aspen.
Right. So hopefully we'll find out. Hopefully everything will be okay there. But yeah, that it did raise so many questions. Like, was Angel going through records? Because there's a whole thing like, did they actually get from Starbase 12 to somewhere else? So like, at what point did the kidnapping take place? When were those records changed? How did they get to the Enterprise? We just don't know. Yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah, there would be many more protocols to go through, presumably, if Dr. Aspen was still working for Starfleet and had to go through all of that. But if it's just like, hey, yeah, I've been doing humanitarian work on my own, and it's been a really long time, and I'm just going to show up in my own ship. We just don't know. Yeah. That was a weird choice.
But I didn't mind it that much. I just kept thinking about it in my head. It's always just one of those things. They're like, yeah, they're not saying for the plot.
Yeah.
But I was also going to say I did like it better on the rewatch as well. But that was, for me, it was because on the first time I watched it, it seemed to me like that Spock was maybe going to cheat on T'Pring with Aspen, and I really did not like that. Because I now love Spock and T'Pring, and my heart is going to break when they break up. But I did like seeing Ston still. I was glad, and I agree with you that he looks like Ston from the original series. They did a great job.
That was amazing. But so the thing about Angel in the Dr. Aspen guise that I thought was cool. I didn't think that there would be a romantic thing with Spock, but I actually thought about Garak, because my original word for Garak in our very first watch through of DS9 and my very first introduction to the character before I knew anything else about him was just that this is a seductive character. And it doesn't necessarily mean that he's hitting on Bashir. Little did I know, at the time.
I shipped them 100%, though. I know. I shipped them 100%.
Oh, I totally get it. I totally get it. Yeah, but I'm just talking about from the very first episode that I saw Garak, I just thought that this is a personality trait. This is like it is a choice that an actor makes about how to play the character. And one of those traits will be, I am seducing people into my realm, into my personality, to get something out of them, to get something that I want. And I felt the same way about Dr. Aspen. It was a different angle, but it was sort of like, yeah, I'm here on a professional job, but now I've found this I found this vulnerable person that I can relate to in this way, so I can get something out of him personally. And again, on first watch, little did I know that there would be this whole change with the character and to be revealed as someone else. But I felt that way too. Not that it would be romantic, just that it would be intimate and personal. And anything that comes Spock's way that is intimate and personal is going to be a challenge, because we know that there's a whole seething mess underneath there as well. So, I hope we see more of them. I really do. Somebody in the chat just said, I hope that we get to see the matchup of Angel and Harry Mudd trying to take over the Enterprise.
That'd be great.
So I could see that happening. Any other thoughts tonight, Cherie?
Well, I was going to say that I did think that it was 2 days with the Angel. Right. I think Angel was actually flirting with Spock because they're actually dating Spock's brother. So the chemistry actually makes sense. On the rewatch, I was like, oh yeah, they probably are attracted to him.
Yeah.
That actually makes a ton of sense.
And look, it's another deep way to be manipulative too. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I liked it better when I knew nothing was going to come of it and he wasn't going to cheat on Spring. Because as Chapel says in the end, one of the appeals of Spock is that he's such an honest man and he wouldn't go after another woman. So that's why I was worried about that.
I do have to say that this is one of the difficult things in choosing to explore this whole thing in a canon story where you've got Spock and T'Pring, and the only thing that we know about them up until now is the events of Amok Time. So my question is, well, why go there? Why re-explore that? Because we all as Star Trek fans go, well, wait, if the only thing that we know is that he supposedly hadn't seen her since they were 7, and then there's this fight, and then why are we spending so much time there? So I hope it's not just all a big lead up to, a Vulcan mind meld to wipe it all out or whatever, but at least the ride along the way is pretty fun,
Yeah. I also think Sybok might just be like a recurring character, kind of like Lore.
Okay.
So I think that could be really fun and cool if he's just recurring versus like, I agree. I don't think they're necessarily setting him up to be like, coming back a ton, but like they could definitely have him recurring.
Yeah. By the way, a couple of interesting speculations here in the chat. Alan says Angel knows the best way to lie to someone is to tell them what they know is true first. Love that. Michael says, my suspicion is the writers will ratchet back a bit on the Spock-Chapel relationship. I think that's fine, absolutely, because I think we've gotten to the heart of that. Again, that informs what we got in TOS. And then I love Dave. He says, Angel's clearly got a type. So definitely well said there. Cherie, if that's what you got for us tonight, we'll go on to our last caller, and we'll see you next time, I hope. All right. Cheers. Take care. All right. Thank you for that. And wrapping us up tonight, friend of the show and podcaster, John Arminio.
Oh,
welcome.
Boy.
Yeah. I know. It's the last time I'm ever going to do that on the air.
Fine.
Welcome to the show.
One thing that, kind of exemplifies Strange New World's ability to defy my expectations is that moment at the end where Pike does the pirate voice, and I'm like just cringing in my seat, like, are they really doing this? And then the line, please stop, made it all worth it.
Yep.
So I was thankful for that. And the last time I was on live, I was talking to Norm, and I was saying, like, this series by its very nature is chained to the original series and the continuity of previous characters by dint of being a spin-off of a prequel. But then, I've podcasted about how much I like Star Trek V and how interesting I think it is and how it explores so many themes that are inherent to the original series. And as soon as I saw Sybok, I was like, my boy's back.
Yes.
So I can't help it. I'm really excited to see what they do with the character. Maybe it's just my own personal bias, but I think with Spock, I don't know if there's a character to come out of the 20th century that's so intrinsically tied to the actor who portrayed him, and then an actor who's so intrinsically tied to that character. I mean, Nimoy has 2 books meditating on his relationship with that character, and so it's still hard for me to watch somebody who's not Nimoy and see Spock.
Of course.
With with Chris Pine as Kirk, I was like, okay, I got it. It's Kirk. Carl Urban as Bones, sure, I'm in. And with the and with the new cast, it's been a lot easier. Even with as great as Ethan Peck is, it has been a little hard for me personally. I don't know about anybody else out there, but I am eager to see how Spock interacts with Sybok and how that sort of comports with the Sybok we've seen. Especially because, Sybok is such an interesting antagonist because he's so he's not out for revenge. He's not out to conquer anybody. He's out for spiritual fulfillment.
Yeah.
And he goes about it in a pretty destructive way, but he's certainly not a Jim Jones kind of character. He's somebody who's suffered at the hands of a fairly hypocritical, society, at least when it comes to him and how he was raised. And so I'm just very intrigued to how the show will approach him and his relationship with Spock. And I also just want a catalog of the number of people who have taken over the Enterprise, because the list is getting pretty long.
It's a very long list. Yeah. Particularly when you look at different iterations of the Enterprise. I agree with you. I think that because of the production shortcomings of Star Trek V, it is an underappreciated movie. I would encourage people to go back and listen to the Mission Log episode about Star Trek V. I would encourage people to listen to the epic episode that you did. It was the Pink Smoke podcast.
Yeah,
right?
The Pink Smoke. Yeah.
That was like a 2-hour plus thing.
It was me and 3 actual filmmakers.
Yeah.
Who were talking about this. I don't know what I was doing there, but I had a great time.
but that's the thing. I mean, that movie deserves discussion because of the ideas in it and what they were trying to explore. And I so appreciate that you can just take a moment in an episode like this that just gives you that much more understanding, that much more background, and it doesn't sort of it doesn't change my perspective on it. It doesn't make me think like, oh wow, they just reinvented it. No. They just gave me additional information that I wanted that helps, So I if that's what it is, I'm all in it. What I don't want is 6 episodes about Sybok.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we got him. We got him in the movie. But
and I think that's one of the strengths of Strange New Worlds is that it's able to get us encapsulated stories. Whereas if Sybok was introduced in Discovery, as much as it was a little discombobulating finding another Spock sibling, but having no mention of Sybok,
right?
It would have been a portent for an entire season about Sybok. But for Strange New Worlds, I'm interested in an episode, and then we can move on to maybe the season finale about something else.
Right. We've run just a couple of minutes over here. John, any parting thoughts?
Just that I really love Jesse James Keitel's performance as Angel/Aspen, because there was a great scene about, hey, Spock, maybe you're not quite human and not quite Vulcan, maybe you're something else. And that was a very Star Trek-like message, a little bonk on the head in the middle of this pirate epic, and I like that. And then Jesse James also got to be an evil pirate, and I really appreciated that full scope of that performance, and I had a great time watching it.
Excellent. Well, thanks for the call, and I hope we see you again. And my excellent co-host Heather, any thoughts from you before we say goodnight?
I will watch this one a lot because it was so much fun, and I'm even more excited for next week because there's swords apparently, and lots of really great costumes and a dog. So yeah, I'm really happy with Strange New Worlds. This season has been great. And we've got 3 left.
We do, and that brings me to a programming note here real quick. Monday, well, July 4th is a Monday night. Therefore, we have very recently decided, surprise, we're going to take that night off. We will come back for a mega episode the next week, and I think it'll be the three of us. I think it'll be me, you, and Norman, and our glorious callers. So I look forward to that. And then we'll do a wrap-up, a season wrap-up the week after that. And then that takes us firmly into convention season. So we'll see how things shake down. And so more to come, but just keep aware of that we've got another episode of the regular Mission Log Live, and then we'll be off July 4th, and then we'll be back. All right. With that, Mission Log Live is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment, technical production on Mission Log and Mission Log Live by the incalculable Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from Roddenberry Podcast. If you'd like to support Mission Log directly, give us a look at patreon.com/Mission Log. Thank you, Heather, for being with us here. Thank you to everyone who joined us live or later. We will see you next week.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.